After watching Kitty DCE, random DCEs, HDGs, and Yahtzee's video game reviews, and with something that's been bothering me, I've decided to take it upon myself to make this guide about Chris Boers, aka the Irate Gamer. While the Irate Gamer is pretty successful so far, with a lot of brainwashed, whorish looking, and retarded subscribers, his videos have been stale ever since his first reviews. So I've compiled this handy-dandy guide inspired by both DCE and Yahtzee to make the Irate Gamer watchable, enjoyable, and complaint-free. Step 1. Since it appears that he is competing against James Wolfe, not just a character the angry video game nerd, but the creator himself, who has better acting, writing, and directing experience than Chris does, it wouldn't be too much to ask if Chris Boers can do better with the acting. Everything that doesn't have to do with game reviewing is done horrendously, especially his review on Predator with the fight scene, where it was done very horribly and seemed like it was done as an effort to ensure that a million yarns came out of my mouth. Step 2. Chris Boers claimed that he has been playing video games for over 20 years, and if that is the case, then age hasn't treated him so well, as his gaming skills are very lacking. In fact, it seems as if he's getting killed in games deliberately. His main complaints in games are mainly the difficulty, where in most of his reviews he always says the game is too hard to play, and he always complains about tapping the button multiple times. We hardcore and casual gamers alike said this before, and I speak for everyone when I say it again, just because the game is hard doesn't mean it sucks. On top of that, the only way he seemed to have gotten around games are those that have a password feature, which is how he got to the end of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, one of the greatest games ever made, and why he switched from playing Ghosts and Goblins on the NES to Ghouls and Ghosts on the Genesis or arcade. Step 3. Going back to where he claimed to be a gamer for 20 years, he also said that he knows video games in and out. If that is the case, then researching wouldn't have to be necessary. Pretty much all of his claims, according to his so-called research, are mostly false. On top of that, he doesn't know much about the games he reviews. For example, he claims that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, is an SNES exclusive, while there exists an arcade version and a Genesis spin-off of Hyperstone Heist, which is virtually the same exact thing. Also, he doesn't know much about the difference between the arcade machines, which are computers, and NES hardware, as he complains about the additions and subtractions from the arcade to NES port of TMNT 2. Step 4. More originality needed. I understand Chris is competing against James Wolfe, but that doesn't mean he has to be just like him. His reviews appear to be similar to the AVGN's. The Breakfast Rant is basically his take on James' You Know What's Bullshit series. He went into the TMNT comics sometime after the AVGN went over Nintendo Power, and now he's doing movie reviews in the same tone as James had. Of course, he doesn't always target James, as he also targets other notable game reviewers on YouTube, like Marcus, aka RMake21 or Nicotine Alien, where Chris said in one of his reviews, avoid it like the fucking plague, and Riz War 100, aka Lazy Work Creations, where he made a review on Predator, and nearly every joke in that review was taken and placed in the Irate Gamer's review on Predator, but made it stupid. Step 5. When it comes to game reviewing or anything that involves talking to a mic, a good voice is needed. James' voice is funny, Marcus's voice is mature, Anthony and Ophi's voices are sarcastical, but Chris's voice makes it seem boring, but up to this point, he seems to be a perfect candidate to be a GameSpot employee. Step 6. While Chris has been known for his good digital effects, which is at times proved to be inferior to James Wolfe's, and can easily be defeated by just Alan, Chris abuses the blue or green screen digital effects very excessively to a point where it's not even funny. In fact, it sets the tone for everything in his videos to contain nothing but biased reviewing and bad stupidity. James Wolfe uses his effects wisely at appropriate times, where Chris seems to do it at every chance he gets. Step 7. In his videos, it doesn't even seem like that Chris tries in whatever he wrote up. In his review on Qbert, he doesn't even come up with a clever April Fool's joke, as he says that he'll have to review a game or else YouTube will fire him, and at the end we basically see a blatant advertisement of What the Buck series, which was entirely pointless. Smosh came up with something clever, and I'll admit I nearly fell for it. Also, when he tries to set the tone, he doesn't do it responsibly. James Wolfe can do a great job at making sure his videos kick off at the right start, and make sure they keep appearing interesting to let the viewers watch until the end. Why Chris Boers cannot do that is beyond me. Step 8. Don't take everything too seriously like this handy dandy guide I made up. It seems that anything that speaks negatively to the irate gamer has to be removed from sight. It doesn't seem like that today, but back then that was happening. A good example was Big Al 2K6's rant video on the irate gamer, where he just maturely ranted against the irate gamer, but his video later got removed due to a copyright claim, which he never showed anything made by Chris Bohr. But Big Al 2K6 eventually made another rant video protesting Chris's claim and ranting about how much of a wuss he was that he couldn't take a simple criticism. Step 9. The name. Let me explain. Angry video game nerd. Remove video, then nerd because he doesn't want to appeal as a nerd. Find an alternative term for angry, and one good pick is irate. Then have the word game emphasis on himself, changing game to gamer. And what do you get? The irate gamer. It seems as if he was begging for hate to come towards him. So anyway, there you have it. A handy dandy guide on how to make the irate gamer watchable, enjoyable, and complaint free. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you didn't, that's hard cheese. So hopefully I saved DCE the trouble doing this guide, and all of you have a nice day. Oh, and try your worst.
Stop kidding around, Snake.